In the story of modern America, few names have echoed across the global stage as loudly as Donald Trump and Elon Musk. At first glance, the two men seem to inhabit different worlds entirely. Trump, the brash real estate mogul turned political juggernaut, and Musk, the South African-born engineer entrepreneur who built empires in electric cars, rockets, and artificial intelligence. Yet, as history often reminds us, power gravitates toward power, and unlikely figures often find themselves linked by circumstance, ambition, and controversy. The intertwining of Trump and Musk's paths has fascinated journalists, critics, and admirers alike, producing one of the most unexpected duos in modern political discourse. Trump built his reputation on an empire of bold claims, television appearances, and a knack for keeping the spotlight firmly upon himself. He was not simply a businessman, but a brand, a figure who represented an idea larger than any single building he erected or any single deal he struck. When he descended the golden escalator of Trump Tower in 2015 to announce his run for the presidency, few could have predicted that his controversial and flamboyant style would carry him all the way to the White House. Yet, Trump was never just about policy or governance. He was about disruption, about tearing down the old order and replacing it with something uniquely his own. Musk, on the other hand, emerged from the world of science and technology. He was not a media personality in the traditional sense, though he has since become one. His vision was steeped in innovation: electric vehicles through Tesla, space colonization through SpaceX, digital revolutions through PayPal and later Twitter, now X. Musk carried with him the aura of the genius inventor, though his critics often painted him as a reckless dreamer with too much power concentrated in his hands. Unlike Trump, whose strength lay in his ability to capture attention through words, Musk's influence spread through the products he created and the industries he transformed. And yet, in their own ways, both men thrived on spectacle. Both became masters of harnessing the modern media environment: Trump, through his mastery of headlines; Musk, through his unfiltered Twitter persona. Both embraced chaos as a strategy. Both positioned themselves as outsiders, battling the establishment, even while being billionaires embedded in elite circles. And both, perhaps most importantly, carried with them massive audiences of devoted supporters, who viewed them not just as individuals, but as symbols of resistance against traditional power structures. The idea of Trump and Musk as a duo, therefore, is less absurd than it initially appears. While one operates in the realm of politics and the other in technology, they share a populist energy that resonates with millions. When Trump praises Musk, or when Musk comments on Trump's political journey, the media world lights up with speculation. What could these two men accomplish together? What dangers or opportunities arise when billionaires and politicians align? What does it mean for democracy when influence extends beyond institutions into the hands of celebrity billionaires with platforms larger than entire news networks? Observers point out that the relationship between Trump and Musk has always been complex, sometimes warm, sometimes icy, often unpredictable. During Trump's presidency, Musk attended advisory meetings at the White House, lending his expertise on business and innovation. Yet Musk also clashed with Trump over issues like climate policy and international agreements. At one point, Musk publicly distanced himself from Trump after the United States withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement. Critics saw this as Musk taking a principled stand. Supporters viewed it as evidence that Musk could not be neatly categorized into political camps. He was, like Trump, his own force, unwilling to bend entirely to one ideology. In recent years, however, their paths have once again intersected more directly, especially in the arena of social media and digital influence. When Musk acquired Twitter in 2022, one of his most controversial moves was reinstating Donald Trump's account, which had been banned in the wake of the January 6 Capitol events. Though Trump initially resisted returning to Twitter, preferring his own platform, Truth Social, the gesture symbolized something larger. Musk was positioning himself as a defender of free speech absolutism. Even if that meant amplifying Trump's voice once again, it was not necessarily a political endorsement, but it demonstrated how Musk's decisions carried immense political weight. In many ways, Musk had become a political actor without ever running for office. Trump, ever the showman, recognized the value of Musk's influence. He praised Musk publicly, calling him a genius and a great innovator, someone who could help America remain competitive on the world stage. Musk, for his part, offered measured comments about Trump, sometimes supportive, sometimes critical, but always intriguing. Their exchanges fueled headlines, sparking debates about whether the billionaire entrepreneur might one day align more directly with Trump's political movement. Would Musk endorse Trump in a future election? Would he use his vast resources, financial, technological, and digital, to tilt the balance of power in Trump's favor? These questions remain speculative, but they underscore how the Trump-Musk connection is far more than a media curiosity. It is a glimpse into the shifting nature of power itself. For much of history, politics was the realm of elected officials, while technology was the domain of scientists and engineers. Today, those boundaries blur. Musk, with his 150 million Twitter followers, commands an audience larger than most governments can reach directly. Trump, even after leaving office, remains a dominant figure in the Republican Party, shaping policy, elections, and public discourse. Together, whether intentionally or not, they represent a fusion of political populism and technological disruption. It is a combination that both thrills supporters and terrifies critics, for it suggests that the future may be shaped not by institutions, but by individuals with unprecedented reach. The unlikely duo also raises questions about accountability. Trump's presidency was defined by its defiance of traditional norms, his willingness to bypass institutions, challenge the media, and break political taboos. Musk's business empire often reflects a similar approach, moving fast, breaking things, ignoring regulators when convenient, and pushing industries to adapt to his vision. Both men are, in many ways, allergic to restraint. When paired together, this becomes a powerful but volatile mix. Admirers see them as revolutionaries who refuse to bow to bureaucracy. Critics warn that such concentration of power in individual personalities undermines democratic safeguards and creates instability. Yet, love them or hate them, Trump and Musk are not going away. They embody forces larger than themselves, forces of disruption, dissatisfaction with elites, and the hunger for bold, unconventional leadership. For many Americans, Trump represents the political voice of the forgotten, those who feel left behind by globalization and cultural change. Musk, meanwhile, represents the visionary entrepreneur who refuses to accept limits, who dares to imagine colonizing Mars or reinventing entire industries. Together, they embody a blend of nostalgia for a strong, disruptive leader and excitement for a daring, innovative future. This is why their dynamic continues to dominate headlines. They are not simply individuals, they are movements. They are brands. They are rallying points for millions who crave change, even if that change comes with chaos. And as long as they remain central figures in the cultural and political conversation, the story of their unlikely duo will continue to unfold in ways that reshape how we understand power in the 21st century. The story of Donald Trump and Elon Musk as an unlikely political duo deepens when one looks beyond the headlines and considers the currents of American society that brought them into prominence. In truth, both men are products of a shifting cultural landscape, one where celebrity wealth and influence matter as much, if not more, than traditional qualifications for leadership. They thrive in an age when personality eclipses institutions, and when the public, disillusioned with old elites, seeks out figures who break the mold. Trump's rise in politics was never meant to be conventional. When he first floated the idea of running for president, many dismissed it as a publicity stunt, a branding move to enhance his image. Few believed he had the discipline or the political machinery to win. Yet Trump's instincts for media attention and his ability to connect with an angry and alienated segment of the population catapulted him into power. He showed that, in the 21st century, politics could be entertainment, and entertainment could become politics. The traditional gatekeepers, the press, the political parties, the donor networks proved less powerful than one man with a knack for dominating the conversation. Musk's trajectory followed a different path, but revealed the same underlying truth. He began not as a politician or celebrity, but as an engineer and entrepreneur with ambitious dreams. From co-founding PayPal to launching SpaceX, Tesla, and Neuralink, Musk consistently pushed boundaries. But what made him a household name was not just his technological achievements. It was his presence in the cultural arena. He tweeted directly to millions, made bold predictions about colonizing Mars, joked about cryptocurrency on live television, and embraced controversy with a shrug. Like Trump, Musk understood that attention is currency. Every outrageous statement, every meme, every clash with regulators fueled his mythos as a man who played by his own rules. This shared understanding of attention, as power creates the foundation for their alignment. Trump built his empire on media spectacle. Musk built his empire on visionary hype. Both discovered that in an age dominated by social platforms, controlling the narrative can be as important as controlling reality itself. And this is where the lines between politics and technology blur. Trump's tweets once shifted markets. Musk's tweets today move political debates. Each man, in his own domain, wields influence once reserved for governments. It is also striking how both men position themselves as outsiders, while standing at the pinnacle of wealth and power. Trump, a billionaire born into privilege, branded himself as the champion of the working class, a man who would fight the elites on behalf of forgotten Americans. Musk, the richest man in the world, casts himself as the underdog, visionary battling entrenched industries and skeptical bureaucrats. Both figures thrive on the paradox of being insiders who claim outsider status. This rhetorical judo allows them to rally massive followings, while evading the full weight of accountability. Their supporters see them not as members of the elite, but as rebels against it. This paradox is one of the reasons critics find the Trump-Musk connection dangerous. If billionaires can successfully portray themselves as outsiders, they can consolidate power without the checks that normally constrain traditional leaders. When Trump attacks the press, or when Musk undermines regulators, they are not merely clashing with institutions. They are reshaping public trust in those institutions. Over time, this erodes the balance of power that sustains democracy and the rule of law. Yet, their supporters argue that these institutions are already corrupt, already broken, and that it takes figures like Trump and Musk to expose the rot and rebuild something new. Another fascinating aspect of the Trump-Musk dynamic is how their ambitions intersect with the broader cultural divides in America. Trump embodies a kind of nationalist populism, America first, skepticism of globalization, hostility toward elites in media and academia. Musk embodies a globalist futurism, space exploration, electric cars, AI, and yet the two visions overlap more than one might expect. Both appeal to a sense of disruption. Both reject the status quo. Both inspire visions of a radically different tomorrow. For Trump's supporters, that tomorrow means a return to traditional values and strong borders. For Musk's followers, it means a leap into space colonies and post-human technology. Together, they span the full spectrum of populist energy, from nostalgic conservatism to sci-fi futurism. Their partnership, however informal, also reveals how political influence is no longer confined to elected officials. Musk has repeatedly denied any interest in running for political office. Indeed, as someone born outside the United States, he is constitutionally barred from becoming president. Yet his decisions have political consequences. When he changes Twitter's algorithms, it shifts the visibility of political speech. When he decides whether or not to comply with government regulators, it sets precedents for how billionaires relate to the state. When he expresses opinions on immigration, taxes, or global conflicts, those opinions influence millions. In this sense, Musk is already a political figure, even without holding office. Trump, conversely, has blurred the line between politics and business. His presidency often looked more like the management of a brand than the stewardship of a nation. He marketed himself constantly, treating political rallies like product launches. He blended the language of business deals with that of diplomacy, approaching allies and adversaries alike. Ask negotiators in a real estate transaction. Critics saw this as reckless, but supporters praised it as refreshing realism. Just as Musk turned technology into a stage for performance, Trump turned politics into a stage for spectacle. Both operate as though life is a permanent campaign, a constant fight for attention and dominance. The convergence of these two men is most visible on the battlefield of social media. Twitter was Trump's megaphone long before Musk purchased it. Through short, punchy messages, he bypassed the media, set the agenda, and ignited controversies at will. His ban from the platform in early 2021 marked a dramatic turning point in digital politics, raising questions about the power of tech companies to silence elected officials. When Musk took over Twitter, his decision to reinstate Trump symbolized more than a policy change. It was a rebalancing of cultural power. Musk cast himself as the liberator of free speech, a role that resonated with Trump's own narrative of being silenced by elites. The question of free speech is, in fact, a central point of overlap between the two men. Both argue that mainstream institutions, from legacy media to universities to tech companies, are hostile to voices like theirs. Both frame themselves as defenders of the people's right to hear unfiltered truths. Whether or not one agrees with this framing, it has powerful resonance with millions of followers. The sense that speech itself is under siege creates urgency, and Trump and Musk position themselves as the saviors of open discourse. Of course, critics argue that their version of free speech often aligns with their own interests, and that their platforms amplify misinformation or dangerous rhetoric. But in the arena of perception, what matters is not the nuance, but the narrative. Their combined reach creates a feedback loop that magnifies their influence. Trump's political base overlaps with Musk's technological fandom, creating hybrid communities of supporters who consume both populist politics and tech optimism. Online spaces abound with memes featuring Trump launching rockets or Musk shaking hands with world leaders alongside Trump. These cultural mashups, while humorous, point to a deeper truth in the digital age. Politics and technology are inseparable, and figures like Trump and Musk dominate because they embody both. As the 2024 and 2025 election cycles unfold, speculation about Musk's role in Trump's political future will only intensify. Will Musk openly endorse Trump? Will he provide technological or financial backing? Will he use his platform to tilt the conversation in Trump's favor? Even subtle gestures such as Musk tweeting something favorable about Trump can shift narratives and dominate news cycles. The mere possibility of Musk aligning with Trump elect both supporters and detractors, for it symbolizes the merging of billionaire futurism with populist nationalism. For some, this is a nightmare scenario. For others, it is the ultimate dream team. Yet, what makes their duo truly fascinating is its unpredictability. Trump and Musk are not bound by loyalty in the traditional sense. They admire each other when convenient and criticize each other when necessary. Their alliance is pragmatic, not ideological. If Musk perceives that aligning with Trump harms his image or business interests, he will distance himself. If Trump feels Musk's influence threatens his dominance, he will attack him. This volatility keeps the public riveted. For every interaction between the two has the potential to spark drama. Unlike traditional political alliances, which operate within party structures and institutional constraints, the Trump-Musk duo is personal, fluid, and driven by spectacle. In the broader arc of history, their connection may be remembered less as a formal partnership and more as a cultural phenomenon. They represent the collision of politics and technology, of old power and new power. They symbolize an era when personalities override parties, when billionaires shape public discourse as much as presidents. Their story is not just about two men, it is about what America has become, and what it may yet become. The magnetism of Donald Trump and Elon Musk as a pair lies not only in their individual power, but also in how each man has become a mirror for the anxieties and aspirations of the 21st century. To understand why their connection matters, one must look at the deeper cultural hunger they satisfy. America, and indeed much of the world, finds itself in an era of profound transition. Old systems appear broken. Technological revolutions disrupt livelihoods. Political institutions falter, and trust in authority is at an all-time low. In such an environment, figures like Trump and Musk rise not because they offer polished plans, but because they offer boldness, certainty, and disruption. They embody the fantasy that one man can bend the course of history by sheer force of will. Trump embodies the defiance of the ordinary citizen who feels unseen, disrespected, and excluded by elites. His plain-spoken style, though often brash and controversial, resonates because it appears unfiltered. He projects strength through simplicity, turning complex issues into clear battle lines: US versus them, winners versus losers, patriots versus traitors. Musk, meanwhile, embodies the audacity of the inventor who refuses to accept limits. He speaks the language of science fiction turned reality, promising not just better cars or better phones, but entire futures reshaped by innovation colonies on Mars, hyperloop transportation, neural links between brain and machine. Together, the images of Trump and Musk converge into a dual fantasy: strength at home, vision abroad, defiance of the establishment, mastery of the future. What unites their appeal is the growing distrust of traditional elites. For decades, Americans were told that institutions, Congress, universities, media outlets, tech companies would protect democracy and ensure progress. Yet scandals, corruption, partisan dysfunction, and economic dislocation have eroded that trust. Into this vacuum step figures who bypass institutions altogether. Trump speaks directly to his supporters through rallies and social media. Musk speaks directly through Twitter, X, circumventing journalists, regulators, and experts. Their followers believe they are finally hearing truth without filters. And that sense of direct connection breeds loyalty that institutions cannot replicate. Still, the loyalty they inspire is not without volatility. Both Trump and Musk have shown that their followers are forgiving of inconsistency. As long as they remain authentic to their personas, Trump could contradict himself within a single speech, and his base would shrug it off, chalking it up to his tell-it-like-it-is style. Musk could promise a technology years before it became feasible, or fail to deliver altogether, and his fans would still celebrate him for daring to try. In a way, the duo teaches an important lesson about modern leadership. Results matter, but not as much as narrative. So long as leaders maintain the aura of disruption, the belief that they are fighting for their people against entrenched powers, their support endures. This lesson terrifies critics who worry about the dangers of personality cults. If Trump can persuade millions to question election outcomes, and Musk can persuade millions to invest in volatile cryptocurrencies or embrace radical technological visions, then who holds them accountable? Institutions designed to limit power seem outdated in the face of such charisma, amplified by digital platforms. And because both men thrive on attacking those very institutions, attempts to restrain them often backfire, fueling their narrative of persecution. The cycle repeats: attack, backlash, more attention, greater power. One of the most revealing arenas where this cycle plays out is Twitter itself. When Musk purchased the platform, many assumed his primary motivation was business. Yet his statements quickly revealed that the acquisition was also ideological. Musk spoke of saving free speech, of protecting open dialogue against the creeping censorship of elites. For Trump's supporters, this echoed perfectly with their grievances over his ban from the platform. Musk's ownership instantly became symbolic. Here was a billionaire standing up to the gatekeepers, giving people their voice back. Whether or not that was true in practice, perception was enough. Trump, though initially hesitant to return, benefited enormously from Musk's decision, which reopened the possibility of his voice dominating the platform during election cycles. Beyond social media, Musk and Trump intersect on issues of governance. Musk's companies rely heavily on government contracts, SpaceX with NASA and the Pentagon, Tesla with subsidies for clean energy, Neuralink and AI projects under regulatory scrutiny. Trump's political agenda, meanwhile, has always been business-friendly, often promising deregulation and reduced oversight. Though they may disagree on specific policies, their shared interest in weakening bureaucratic red tape aligns. For Musk, fewer restrictions mean faster innovation. For Trump, fewer restrictions mean stronger business growth and greater appeal to his pro-business base. Their alliance, even if informal, rests on a shared disdain for bureaucracy. At the same time, their differences cannot be ignored. Trump is a nationalist, skeptical of globalization, wary of international agreements. Musk is a globalist by necessity. His supply chains span continents. His markets are international. His vision extends beyond Earth itself. Trump frames his mission as protecting America first. Musk frames his as advancing humanity as a whole. These divergent outlooks can create tension. Yet, even here, their stories intertwine. Trump's America First rhetoric provides cover for Musk's business expansion, while Musk's global influence lends Trump credibility as someone who can attract the attention of the world's most powerful innovator. Each benefits from the association, even if their philosophies clash. Another key element binding them is their shared conflict with the media. Trump famously labeled mainstream outlets as fake news, casting himself as the victim of biased journalism. Musk, after acquiring Twitter, often mocked or dismissed reporters, portraying them as relics of a dying industry. Both thrive on bypassing traditional media to speak directly to their audiences, and both know how to weaponize media coverage against itself. Every negative headline becomes proof of persecution. Every controversy becomes an opportunity to rally their base. In this sense, the media's attempts to challenge them often serve to amplify their power rather than diminish it. Looking ahead, the question remains, what role will Musk play in Trump's future political ambitions? Some speculate Musk could become a key backer in the 2024 or 2028 elections, using his immense wealth and platforms to amplify Trump's message. Others believe Musk will remain strategically distant, offering support when convenient, but avoiding full alignment to protect his broader business interests. Either way, the association ensures that Musk will remain a player in political discourse, whether he intends to or not. For Trump, the ability to boast of Musk's admiration, or to spar with him publicly, only enhances his image as someone tied to the cutting edge of innovation. What is undeniable is that their partnership, however loose, has already reshaped the boundaries of power. In past decades, political influence was measured by office, votes, or legislation. Today, it is measured by attention, platforms, and reach. By that metric, Musk is as powerful as any senator, and Trump remains as influential as any sitting president. Together, they embody a new model of power that transcends traditional categories. They are not just political or business figures, they are cultural archetypes, mythmakers in a world hungry for larger-than-life heroes and villains. Their story is still unfolding. Every tweet, every rally, every offhand remark becomes part of the larger narrative of two men who should never have shared the same stage, yet who find themselves intertwined by the currents of history. The unlikely political duo of Donald Trump and Elon Musk is less about friendship and more about synergy, to forces colliding, amplifying, and shaping the future in ways that few could have predicted. And in the unpredictable dance of spectacle and ambition, their influence shows no signs of fading. Donald Trump and Elon Musk, when placed side by side, appear almost like paradoxes that should never intersect. One is a political populist who thrives on rallies, chants, and raw emotion. The other is a technological futurist who thrives on equations, rockets, and improbable dreams. Yet their collision in public consciousness is not a coincidence. It is the natural outcome of a 21st century environment where politics and technology are no longer separate arenas, but fused into a single battlefield for influence, attention, and power. The final analysis of this duo must explore not only who they are, but what their partnership represents for humanity's future. Trump embodies the archetype of disruption through politics. Musk embodies the archetype of disruption through technology. Both are showmen. Both are masters of narrative. Both have rewritten the rules of their industries by sheer force of personality. When Trump declared his candidacy in 2015, few believed he could bend American politics to his will. When Musk announced plans to colonize Mars or build reusable rockets, few believed he could bend physics to his will. Yet both men proved that impossibility is not a wall, but a stage. They took ridicule and turned it into fuel. They took doubt and turned it into dominance. And in doing so, they revealed a deeper truth in an age of fractured trust. People crave visionaries who will simply try. But what does this unlikely duo mean for democracy, capitalism, and the broader world? The answer lies in their shared model of leadership. Traditional leaders rely on institutions to exercise authority. Trump and Musk rely on platforms. Institutions are slow, rigid, procedural. Platforms are immediate, viral, and emotional. A single tweet from Musk can wipe billions off the stock market or send a cryptocurrency skyrocketing. A single speech from Trump can reshape the narrative of an election, energize millions, or polarize an entire nation. Their strength is not institutional power, but cultural gravity. They do not just hold office or run companies, they bend the conversation of humanity itself. Critics argue this concentration of cultural gravity is dangerous. How can two men wield such disproportionate influence? What if their impulses or errors misguide millions? What if their visions are self-serving rather than truly innovative? These are valid questions. Yet they also miss why such figures rise in the first place. The rise of Trump and Musk is not the cause of institutional weakness, it is the symptom. People no longer believe governments can deliver prosperity. People no longer believe corporations can be trusted. People no longer believe media can tell the truth. Into this void step the strong voices who promise to defy all convention. Whether they succeed or fail matters less than whether they appear unafraid to fight. In that sense, Trump and Musk have already achieved their greatest victory. They convinced millions that they are warriors against a system perceived as broken. Looking globally, this duo also symbolizes a shift in geopolitics. America's strength has long depended on a marriage between political might and technological innovation. Trump and Musk, in their own chaotic way, embody that marriage. Trump represents the unapologetic assertion of American power, nationalism, and exceptionalism. Musk represents the boundless innovation that has kept America ahead in technology, space exploration, and artificial intelligence. Together, they remind the world that America remains not only a military power, but also a cultural and technological juggernaut. Whether one agrees with them or not, their influence radiates across borders. The implications stretch further. If Musk succeeds in space colonization, it will be remembered not just as a corporate achievement, but as a national milestone, an American leading humanity into the stars. If Trump reshapes politics for a generation, it will not just be about policy, but about a cultural reawakening of populism that challenges globalist elites. Each man is tied to forces larger than himself, and their alignment, however uneasy, amplifies both movements. Their duo becomes a mythos, the builder and the fighter, the inventor and the populist, the Mars dreamer and the America First champion. Of course, such mythologies carry risk. Musk's vision of AI neural links and space colonies could deepen inequality if accessible only to the wealthy. Trump's populism could fracture alliances, strain democracy, and intensify polarization. Yet these risks are not new, they are the price of transformation. Every era of disruption, from the printing press to the Industrial Revolution, carried both promise and peril. What makes the Trump-Musk era unique is speed. Technology and politics are accelerating in tandem, feeding each other's flames. What once took centuries now unfolds in decades. What once unfolded in decades now unfolds in years. Humanity may struggle to keep pace with the very leaders it elevates. Yet perhaps that is the point. The story of Donald Trump and Elon Musk is not meant to comfort. It is meant to shock, to polarize, to ignite debate. It is a story of two men who refused to stay in their assigned lanes. A businessman became president. A tech CEO became a cultural icon. Each defied expectations. Each attracted legions of loyalists and armies of detractors. Each forced the world to pay attention. And together, they embody a truth about our age. The boundary between politics and technology has dissolved, leaving us with hybrid figures who shape reality, not through quiet policy or quiet invention, but through spectacle. In the final analysis, one must admit something uncomfortable. We are addicted to them. We may love or hate Trump, we may idolize or mock Musk, but we cannot look away. Their words trend. Their ideas spark movements. Their mistakes dominate headlines. They are the protagonists in a global drama, where citizens are not just observers but participants, retweeting, rallying, investing, shouting, believing. And this participatory spectacle is perhaps the true legacy of the Trump-Musk duo. They have turned politics and technology into theater, where everyone plays a role. What will history say? Perhaps it will view Trump as the populist who revealed the fragility of democracy, and Musk as the visionary who revealed the possibility of transcendence. Perhaps it will judge them harshly for the chaos they unleashed, or praise them for the boldness they inspired. More likely, history will record them not as saints or villains, but as symbols of an era where disruption was worshipped, where spectacle became power, and where humanity stood at the edge of both collapse and rebirth. The unlikely political duo of Donald Trump and Elon Musk is, in the end, not about friendship or partnership in the conventional sense. It is about alignment to meteors crossing the same sky, each illuminating the other, each leaving a trail too bright to ignore. Their impact will echo far beyond elections, far beyond rockets. It will shape how future leaders understand power itself. For power in the 21st century is no longer about holding the office or holding the patent. It is about holding attention. Trump and Musk understand this better than anyone. That is why they rise. That is why they endure. And that is why their story, strange as it may seem, will be remembered as one of the defining duos of our age.